Hey everybody, it's been 2 years since my channel's introduction, so to celebrate, I'm gonna read some fan mail. Dear Mr. Guy, you've been hinting at a Danish review for a long time. When are you going to talk about the games? I'll do it when the physical release comes out. Do you remember me? It's your old friend Michael. I never knew to begin with. Nintendo Guy, I am going to skin you alive. Terrific. Hey, I really enjoy your content, but I hope you do not continue the game collection series. It's very unoriginal and it makes the old episodes outdated. Could you tell I did this just in spite of you?
Hobbies. Everybody has them, whether it's watching movies, reading books, or whatever the hell you do to waste time.
This is my hobby. Could you tell I have no life? Well, since in the third installment of this ongoing series of mine, I talked about my game collecting journey, we might as well start where we left off.
This picture is from August 2025. As you can see, my shelf was completely full, and that was thanks to these things. I wanted to make a video on eBay game launch, and I recently got an Xbox 360 at the time, so I decided to make a poor financial decision and buy this lot without a second thought. I put these on my shelf and went, oh I had no idea what to do. Did I have to get a new shelf? Did I have to stop collecting altogether? Forward over to December, these games were taking up most of the side shelf. With the bottom row filled out, I was worried about what to do next for storing. But while we're still here, I can show off how I got my Super Retro Trio Plus. Good for me. I also got my sealed copy of Cassette Beast because that's how I chose to spend $100 that week. This is also when I was working on getting every My Sims game.
To this day, I still don't know why I wanted to do that.
What else could I talk about here? Family Fest presents movie games.
It's actually not that bad.
Skip to a mere 10 days later. Here's Christmas Day. Yeah, I did this instead of spending time with my family.
This is out of order.
That's right, I got a brand new, much larger shelf for Christmas. There aren't as many new games in this shot, just the ones I got as gifts, but this was a big moment for my collecting career. While this shelf is a million times better than the old one, I'll always have a soft spot for it. It was with me since the beginning, and I kinda like the aesthetic of the rows, using the stupid bars that couldn't hold anything, they didn't perfectly fit, and they spun, which was really annoying, and they were really thin, so everything stuck out, never mind this shelf. And here we are now, my current collection with over 300 games being stored on 2 shelves now. Yeah, I recently ran out of room on my shelf, so I set up my old one in my basement to put all my old books, and now I'm using this bookcase as a second game shelf. There's just my Switch 2 games right here now, but it'll be filled out soon, don't you worry. Now, of course, like all collectors, I have some embarrassing parts of my collection. My 2 Marble Madnesses, the VTech Learning Lodge installation CD, my sticky Metroid copy. But who cares? I have the original Sonic the Hedgehog with the manual. Also, oh my god, I actually got more PS1 games, and a new original Xbox game.
Are you proud of me?
I recently got a PS1 memory card, because for some reason playing PS1 games on a PS2 doesn't let you save the game to a PS2 memory card, so you need a completely separate card just for them, which is just stupid. So I've been a bit more interested in its library. And with the OG Xbox, I just really wanted to play Rayman 3, and the store I was at didn't have the PS2 version. And that and the dust piling up on this thing was becoming a hazard. Now you're probably wondering why I set up my games in this order.
Anyone?
I put my DS and 3DS games at the top originally because on my old shelf the top row was a lot shorter, so I kinda had to put these at the top. Another reason why that old shelf sucks ass. Then when I got my new shelf, we found out that if we kept those at the top, we could add an extra row to the shelf, which was very much needed. After this, everything is in order of when the console released. NES, a console I've always liked picking up new games for, it's such an interesting novelty nowadays. SNES, a console I'd like to get more games for, but the good ones can be hard to find. Genesis, a console I haven't really been interested in much. There's not really any heavy hitters outside of Sonic, and when there are great games, they're expensive as hell. PS1 and PS2, another library I find interesting considering games on here are very hit or miss. OG Xbox, something I've wanted to get into recently since games on this thing are super cheap. Xbox 360, one of my favorite consoles to collect for. It's modern enough for games to not feel dated while being old enough to be interesting to go back to. Pair that with the dirt cheap prices and the fact these things are everywhere makes this console super fun to collect for. Wii. It's just so easy to collect for this thing. I don't care if 90% of the library is garbage. I love picking up games for this thing. Wii U. This thing is like an abused child. I don't care about it, but my memories with it are amazing. My one PS4 game that doesn't even work. Need I say more? Switch and Switch 2, the most recent consoles here, and the ones I easily play the most. This order was originally completely accidental. I just threw these where I thought they would fit well, and it just worked out like that. Then there's the console setup. It's pretty simple. We just have all my consoles on the top of my dresser alongside my TV. The NES is alone down there because I don't give a shit about it. Right below, we have a box with bags filled with extra controllers and accessories, each marked by which console they're for. And then my Samba de Amigo maracas are just sitting at the bottom.
While I like collecting, gaming companies have just been kicking down physical collectors and degrading us recently.
First, it was the Switch 2 with the game keycards, and these didn't really bother me at first until every company started using them. But recently, PlayStation announced that they'll stop all physical game production in a few years, so it's just a punch in the face for any collector. While I've only collected older consoles from Sony, it just makes me even less inclined to get their future consoles. Maybe in 2029 or something, I can find a physical edition PS5 for dirt cheap since nobody will want them. While on the bright side here, we can have one big game of catch-up. If Nintendo and Xbox stop producing physical games, it'll then be possible to collect every physical game ever made. Now that would allow you bragging rights.
Since I've been collecting for a bit over 2 years now, I think I'm able to tell you guys some rules for collecting, as I like to call them, the code of collecting, for short. Well, that's unfortunate.
Number 1, don't waste money on bad games. You might want to fill out your game collection with cheap games to make it look bigger, but maybe you should think about it more. It's not like you can really play these games except for a quick 5-minute session to make fun of it, so these will just be sitting on your shelf collecting dust. Or in the garbage can. After a while, these games will just be pissing you off. Trust me, I learned the hard way. Number 2, store your games right. If I see any of you storing games sideways, I'll roundhouse kick you in the face. What do you gain from doing this or putting games in front of other games? Sure, it saves a lot of space, but it's so inconvenient. I can at least understand throwing away the cases and put discs in a binder or something. It saves so much space and it's very convenient. But this is the true way to store your games. It's so orderly and nice. While we're on this topic, keep your games in alphabetical order. You don't understand how much it helps you in the long run. If you have a lot of games and they're not in order, it can be a pain to reorganize them, but it makes it incredibly easy to find any game and it just looks nice. Number 3, keep track of your collection. You don't want to accidentally buy a game twice, or thrice. Keeping track of your collection is necessary if you have a lot of games. Sometimes you forget what games you have and mistakenly buy a game a second time. GameEye is an incredible app for this. There's an encyclopedia with pretty much any game or console you could ever think of, including region variations and color differences. Then you could search for a game or a console and add it to your personal collection. It shows its price for loose, complete in box, or new. The console is for the region and even the Metacritic score. You can sort by title, release, price, Metascore, and even how long it takes to beat. You can also filter the collection by the company's specific console, country, or genre. There's also a report section where you can see different stats for your collection for each console. This is one of the most in-depth yet simple and user-friendly apps I've ever used. I know I'm absolutely licking their boots right now, but I just think this app is a necessity for any collector. Number 4, don't buy games just for their monetary value. Nobody thinks you're cool for owning a sealed copy of Mario 3. Who cares if it costs you $1,000? Honestly, most people would think you were less cool if they found that out. The only worst sealed games have is a conversation starter. Even then, normal people won't give a shit, so what's the point? Why is someone selling a sealed copy of Mario 1 for over $1 million? I can get this game plus Duck Hunt for $5. 5! Finally, we have rule number 5. Ignore the other 4. Who cares how you collect? Do whatever you want. Buy those shitty games if you want to. I like to buy these myself sometimes. I think it's way more interesting going back to games like Chicken Shoot than the Wii's better games. There's no correct way to store games. Sure, some are more space efficient or more stylish, but it all depends on how you like to store them. Maybe you don't want to constantly log every game you get. If you accidentally buy a game twice, you can just sell it. And if you want to buy that $1.5 million Mario 1 copy, sure, you're f***ing insane, but I'm not going to stop you.
There's also some rules I didn't mention that don't matter either. Whether you have 5 games or 5,000, you can still be a collector. Collector isn't a status, it's merely a term. If you only collect Nintendo games or PlayStation games, you're just as much a collector as someone who collects for everything. You can collect games in any way you want, whether you just like to buy the games you want, you just buy all the cheap games to artificially grow your collection, you buy sealed games as a display piece, or if it makes you horny for some reason.
Did you read the sign? Now obviously there's some pros and cons with collecting. As much as I love this hobby, it's not perfect. But starting on the positive side, let's go over the pros.
The most obvious positive of collecting is that you have a lot of games. It's nice just having all these games to play from, just to grab, open, click, open, insert, close, and press away. It's also nice buying physical games because, you actually own them. I'm not one of those pretentious losers who act like companies will take away all your digital games whenever they're bored, but it's just nice knowing that unless I sell them out of my own volition, these games will always be mine. Another pro is that this is a surprisingly cheap hobby to get into. Sure, all modern games cost as much as a mortgage.
I'm good, bro.
But if you go back a generation or two, you can usually find amazing games for dirt cheap. But then there are the cons. If you don't live near a used game store like me, it can be very hard to find cheaper games. Unless you want to search out for garage sales just to find a copy of Need for Speed Shift that doesn't get past the opening cutscene and just sits at the loading screen, you're forced to buy new games, and like I said, those can be expensive as hell. While we're on the topic of price, you know how I said that older games are usually cheaper? Yeah, put a huge emphasis on usually. Some games just skyrocket in price for some reason. Whether it's critically acclaimed or if it's just really hard to find, some games can end up being hundreds of dollars. Usually the most expensive games are for whatever console people are nostalgic for at that moment. Currently, GameCube games are super expensive since people who grew up with it are wanting to play these games again. Even with these cons, I still enjoy collecting. Sure, these can get annoying sometimes, but if you can't get a game due to its price, too bad. There'll definitely be another game you'll be interested in.
Game collecting is a hobby I love, and I'm always happy to see people inspired to collect for themselves. Just so you know, after you start collecting for a little bit, there's no turning back. Trust me, I know! I believe it's about time I end this video with an old tradition of mine. My favorite parts of my collection! My sealed copy of Cassette Beast. Like I said a while ago, this is my favorite game of all time, so when I found out there was a limited physical release only released in Europe, I had to get it. So I checked on eBay, it was around $60 or $70. Then I forgot about it for a year, and then it was $100, so 1 year and $100 later, I got one of 5,000 copies of this game. And I was going to buy the even more limited edition Special Edition, which only had 3,000 copies made. But Jesus Christ, that is expensive. I'd love to make a whole video about this game someday, but for now, haha, I have this and you don't. Every single game in the My Sims franchise. Now one day, I just randomly decided I want to get every single one of these games, which is weird, because at the time I didn't own a single one. But 4 months of searching later, I did get all of these, and I decided to do a video on them for some reason. I love this series for a reason I don't even know. Mass Effect 2 Collector's Edition. This is such a cool collectible. Got this thing for only $20, and not only does it come with this cool steelbook case, but it also comes with this extra box with like an art book and a comic. And then, inside the case itself, behind the manual and stuff here, we get a Mass Effect 2 Collector's Edition bonus disc, which includes a bunch of behind-the-scenes footage and stuff. This is so cool, I still haven't played the game. The entire Pac-Man World Trilogy. I absolutely adore these games. It's just so nice to have physical copies of all of these. I also have all the remakes, but I don't have a physical version of Repack 1. I also don't have Pac-Man World Rally because it's Pac-Man World Rally. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim on Xbox 360. Not only do I like this because it was my 300th physical video game, but also, at the back of the case here, there's an ad for Prey 2, which never ended up releasing. I'm not sure if this is a thing with every copy of Skyrim on 360, but this is pretty neat. Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis. This game is so iconic, it was pretty much the entire reason that the ESRB rating was added to games at all. And I could have gotten the SNES version, considering it was a little bit cheaper at the game store I was at, but I just needed to get the Genesis version for the Blood Code. I played this game once and I didn't even use the blood code. This is so confusing. I have no clue how to play this game. I paid an extra $5 for nothing. Kingdom Hearts 2. I haven't played this game, but that's exactly the reason why I'm talking about it. It's the longest I've owned a game without playing it. If you want to know how long I've had this, I bought this for gaming halls. Yeah, that video. That really shows how long it's been. And I just want to see how long it goes until I play it. Finally, we have a bunch of games I bought multiple copies of. First of all, the most reasonable ones, Assassin's Creed and LEGO Marvel Super Heroes. Now, I simply bought these games because the old copies were broken. With Assassin's Creed, the game I bought was broken when I first got it. And with LEGO Marvel Super Heroes, I simply just played my old copy to death. And then there's the Wii U games that I simply bought the Switch ports of for convenience. Except for Super Mario 3D World, where I got the Switch version right near launch, but I got the 3D World version less than a year later just as a collectible. Not very proud of that. And then there's Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension on Wii and DS. Now, if you know me, I'm kind of a Phineas and Ferb head. So when I heard that the DS version was completely different from the console version, I just needed to try it. This is definitely a hot take considering that the DS version has a 47 on Metacritic. I actually prefer this version. And ending it off with the most embarrassing Marble Madness. I have an ironic love for this game. I don't know, something about it. And then when I saw the Genesis version for sale, I just knew I had to get it. It was double the price of the NES version they already had, and honestly, I prefer the NES version. This is one of the stupidest purchases I've ever made. And that was my game collection yet again. I did all that out of spite. So now I think it's time for me to rest and just play some Fling Smash. Don't judge me.